Who is the Man in Yellow? It's arguably the biggest question to come out of the finale of From Season 3, other than why Acosta hasn't changed out of her uniform. So I thought it would be fun to compile everything we know about him and what this could mean for our characters in Season 4. But before we begin, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. I make all sorts of fun From Theory videos. Let's start off with the easy stuff, his physical features. He appears to be a man in his 60s to 70s, of course wearing that distinct yellow jacket. We've seen a similar looking man in one of Miranda's paintings back in episode 302. This would have been something Miranda painted before coming to the town, so we can deduce that the Man in Yellow has been here since at least 1978. You'll also notice a lot of differences between him in this painting and how we see him in real life. He's markedly younger, has black instead of gray hair, and everything about his wardrobe appears clean. Contrast this with the tattered clothes, blackish eyes, protruding veins, and rotten teeth. Something has definitely changed since Miranda painted this picture. The question is, was he always evil? I also want to bring up what might be a red scar on his right cheek, which would be eerily similar to the one Randall has. The Man in Yellow does not have such a scar, so it's possible the red from the aura gives off the illusion of a scar here, or the Man in Yellow was able to heal. Now, we don't know if Miranda ever met him. A lot of her paintings depict characters that could be from the 15 or 1600s. If I were to pinpoint his clothing, I'd say the yellow jacket and dress pants are indicative of the jazz clubs of the 1920s and 30s, but just because he wears something from a certain era doesn't necessarily mean he's from there. Remember that the citizens in town recycled their clothes and could wear something from a person long since deceased. But if I had to bet, this is his original clothing because it's just so distinct. Is the Man in Yellow human? Well, he takes the form of a human. His superhuman strength and ability to take on Jim and rip his throat out in one fell swoop suggest he is not. Okay, well, if he's not human, then is he one of the town's creatures? Probably not as well. As far as we know, the creatures cannot survive in daylight. However, I should bring up this creature from Season 3. This scene takes place during the daytime. However, they are in the tunnels away from sunlight. This would imply the monsters can be active during the day in their human form, just as long as there's no sunlight. But in this particular instance, the Man in Yellow is fully out in the sun. I think he's another tier of evil in this town. Remember that Martin said the creatures around town are just the tip of the spear when it comes to the evil this place has. Martin also warns Boyd he has to hurry because, quote, he's going to be back soon. Could the person Martin is referring to be the Man in Yellow? Is he the one who offered their parents immortality for killing their children? As well as his strength, the Man in Yellow sure knows a lot about this town. He tells Jim that his wife shouldn't have dug that hole, a reference to the hole Tabitha dug in the basement in Season 1 when she was trying to locate the origins of the town's power. This is the same line the man on the radio told Jim in that very episode.
Your wife shouldn't be digging that hole, Jim.
This would imply that Radio Man was indeed the Man in Yellow. Does that also mean the Man in Yellow was in charge of bringing in that storm and controlling the flickering lights, things like the jukebox, and other such unexplained events which seem to break the laws of physics? But how does this man seemingly know everything? Either he's this omniscient entity or he knows what's going to happen because, as was revealed in the finale, we're witnessing the same story told over and over again. So is the Man in Yellow the endgame bad guy? There's not a lot of evidence to suggest that he is or isn't, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no. I think that this thing found in the cave drawings is the source of all the evil, but then again, that could be him. This would suggest there's a counterforce, one that is good, that fights against it. However, that will have to be a topic for another video. Could the Man in Yellow be the reincarnated version of one of our characters? With time travel, anything is really possible at this point. Any evidence so far that points to him being one of our characters is merely circumstantial, like Randall and the Scar. But for fun, if I were to pick a character the Man in Yellow would be, it would be Ethan. I went back and noticed that Ethan disproportionately wears yellow more than any other character in the show. Plus, sprinkled throughout the show, he kind of has these depressing pieces of dialogue, like when he said they should give up looking for Mom.
We are not giving up on your mom.
Maybe you should.
The Man in Yellow also appears right after Jade plays the melody.
That was a hell of a song.
That Jade sure can play.
It's not a stretch to think that the unlocking of this knowledge that the Ankui kids want Jade and Tabitha to remember also unlocked the Man in Yellow. After all, he says,
Knowledge comes with a cost.
It's also possible that the Man in Yellow is a story walker. In the finale, Ethan used this term to refer to Julie being able to access chapters of a story, like how she was able to drop the rope down to help Boyd. This might explain why we haven't seen him yet. The Julie we see at the end of the finale is not the Julie we left earlier at the diner. This must be a Julie from the future that knows what's going to happen. After all, she says,
It's not safe. I think this is when it happens.
Okay.
Obviously, the color yellow is a distinct artistic choice on the part of the writers, and it has a unique history when it comes to the horror genre in particular. You might have heard about a character named the King in Yellow, who originated in the 1895 short story of the same name. He wears tattered yellow clothing, just like our guy, and rules a mythical city that exists outside of time and space. Sound familiar? This city, known as Carcosa, is a place where time blends the past, present, and future. It has different cosmic entities that live within it. There's mention of a lake of tears, a special song, and a mysterious symbol known as the yellow sign, which turns people to madness as their minds try to comprehend the overwhelming truths of the universe. Sounds a lot like Jade and the Symbol. The King in Yellow is also connected to this idea of forbidden knowledge. This might explain why the Man in Yellow tells Jim that knowledge comes at a cost, but I think the Man in Yellow is also a blend of another fictitious character, that of Dr. Mabuse. I go into more detail in my episode breakdown, but Dr. Mabuse was a shadowy figure who could change his identity, control others through hypnosis, manipulate electronics and people so well that often those duped didn't realize what they were doing until it was too late. Sounds a lot like Elgin and Sarah. The name Mabuse can be found in the ambulance as well as on the defibrillator. Mabuse was a doctor, and to my knowledge, there's no medical equipment company by that name, so these props would have had to have been made specifically for the show. The Man in Yellow might also be an agent of balance. The town thrives off chaos and disorder, so when Jim gets closer to learning the truth, i.e. knowledge, the Man in Yellow has to take him out. Remember, it was Jim who helped Jade and Tabitha discover the musical notes which unlocked their memories, and for the Man in Yellow, that's a big no-no. While we don't know 100% who this man is or how he'll influence the story, we have until 2026 to learn more about this mysterious figure. But now I turn it over to you. I want to hear all your thoughts and theories about the Man in Yellow. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.